we're living in an age now where a person can master their image without having to master their life. And social media has exasperated that. And so when everything is sold on an image and you put all of your time and energy into mastering that image, but you don't master your life, at some point in time, the other the bad one transcends the good one, right? The real life transcends the image. I've had the great privilege of working in this space for some time, and I've worked with some of the top names and influencers. If I name their names, I won't do it on here. Everybody would know who they are. And I've watched many of them, and I've counseled with many of them. I've worked with them behind the scenes, but they spent their life mastering their image, but their marriage, their personal life, it was an absolute train wreck. And it eventually caught up with them. So, Frank, the reality is we all have two versions of ourselves. We all have a 3 p.m. version. We all have a 3 a.m. version. The 3 p.m. version is the mover and the shaker, the deal maker, the life of the party. He walks in the room, everybody knows he's there. The 3 a.m. version is a guy who's waking up in the middle of the night, terrified of his future. His finances are a wreck. He's addicted to porn. He's not having sex with his wife. There's no intimacy there, right? It's a complete and total disaster. That's the 3 a.m. version. He's running to pornography or other women. If we do not take the necessary steps in life to master that 3 a.m. version, then it's going to eventually transcend the 3 p.m. and the whole world's going to see it. That's what happened to me. That's the full exposure. That's when everybody goes, oh, that's what was behind the curtain. Yep, it sure was. And so if I were to encourage anybody in this space, stop worrying about the image and what social media promises and really become an expert at mastering your life. Number one, getting healthy and whole, dealing with all the things from your past that you need to deal with. Number two, reprogram your conscience. Deal with the old programming, get rid of it, replace it with the right programming. Then really have your why defined. Think of it this way too, that most people chasing, especially in this space, it's a quick buck, they think. So they're chasing opportunities. They're not pursuing a calling. Those are not the same thing. You can chase opportunities all day long, but pursuing a calling is vastly different, because if you're just chasing opportunities and that doesn't work, you're just jumping to the next opportunity. But when you're pursuing a calling, even in the low days, the slow days, the vision isn't moving like you wanted it to, you're getting the crap kicked out of you. You don't stop. You don't shut it down. I'm in pursuit of a calling. I believe the best coaches and leaders on the planet have clearly defined their why. They're in pursuit of a calling. They're not just chasing opportunities. That's the difference.
Yeah, I've had to be reminded that of myself many times recently, as markets have shifted. Things that we did for a couple of years didn't have the same level of impact. I think people are getting numb to this coaching space, and just the high ticket services space that we are in has kind of been watered down. We've had to repackage and reposition things and change some of our development. It's like, and there's been multiple nights I'm like, man, I would much be better suited over there. I've got 20 years of professional development and sales, leadership, business building. It's like, what I do here is very hard. Like, I could easily step into a different industry and quickly make a lot of money. But it's like, I've been reminded many times, no, this is much deeper than just creating income or a position or a company anymore. It's about the impact that we're trying to have with the men. So I need that reminder there.
Calling always transcends money. So calling doesn't always equal money. And if you don't make a peace with that, you're not ready. I cannot stress that enough. If you do not make a peace with the fact that your calling doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a ton of money, you're not ready. It doesn't mean you're not. But if you're not at peace with that, you're not ready to step into your calling.
Amen. Amen. I love what you said there about we all have these two versions, the 3 p.m. and the 3 a.m. It's not a Christian book, but Atomic Habits. I reference it quite a lot. And James Clear, the author, has a quote in there: "What you do when you're by yourself is really who you are." And that's something we try to bring into our group and community. That in order for you to overcome these addictions or walk in this life of freedom, like, you're gonna have to take that mask off, and there's gonna need to be one version of you that is the same at home, is the same in your social circles, that is in the same in the business marketplace as well. That removal of that mask. And I think sometimes, as we've been speaking to this core theme here with the guys that are, men of faith, but they're putting their faith in the drawer before they go to work Monday through Friday. And sometimes that's maybe my opinion, like that's why the success in business doesn't have fulfillment, or it's lacking that piece, because they know it's inauthentic to who they really are. They put a mask on to go create that success, where if they just took it off, they could still have the same level of success and they would be at peace at the end of it. Because I think peace is only found when you're walking in integrity in every area of your life. You're the same person at home that you're at work. Maybe obviously you change your context a little bit, you change your delivery because you're now leading an organization, not leading a family, but it's got to come from the same core identity, which has been a theme that we've had here all day long. The core identity of the man has to be whole and Christ-centered.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not true to yourself, you can't be true to other people. I have a little ritual that I do at night. It's in my moral inventory. God, am I right with you? And am I right with me? In other words, did I steward the platforms that you gave me to do with excellence? And was I true to myself? If I'm right vertically, I'll be right horizontally. And I can't be right vertically if I'm not true and right with myself, right? So there's an alignment with God that puts us in alignment with other people. And if we kind of run that system or that ritual every night and we're honest with ourselves, I love in Atomic Habits, he talked about that 1% change, daily growth and change. And it's like, I may not have done it all right today. It's always progress over perfection, but I can adjust my sales 1% and do something a little different tomorrow than I did today. But I gotta learn to be true to myself. And that's something, bro. My sickness, my internal sickness, I'm an approval addict. And so I'm addicted to approval. And I grew up in a church system that was a real bedrock for production and producing. It was all about the external, nothing really about internal. So I learned in that system how to win people's approval to get them to like me. Well, this to be true. When you become an adult, that just gets exasperated. It becomes a bigger problem. And so I had to become rigorously honest about the fact that I'm an approval addict. And I had this sort of subconscious character defect that was sitting on autopilot, controlling all these external components of my life. I had to move that from subconscious to conscious. It had to become a cerebral thought and awareness that every room you walk in, you're going to try to peacock and banner to get people's approval. That's what you do. And so you've got to interrupt it and redirect it. If you don't interrupt it, it's going to interrupt you. If you don't redirect it, you're going to default back to your default system. And so this is the process that we have to walk through constantly as men, but it doesn't happen outside of not being honest with yourself.
Yeah, we say your subconscious is reprogrammed by the conscious actions you take on a daily basis.
Yeah, in the science world, we call it neuroplasticity. You can create new neural pathways or new default systems, but you got to intentionally have those action steps to make it happen.